Now, I've talked about hemp and flax fiber and what is fiber and all that. And here's just a few little stalks that have been uh, left out in the weather until they become bleached. You know, they used to be green and now they've been left out in the weather. So remember I talked about naturally bleaching. Now they're not perfectly processed for fiber, but at least it shows you where fiber comes from. Like, for instance, kind of tangled up. Now, if you're a real good fiber worker, you don't let it get all tangled up like that, because that's a pain. You can see the fiber hanging off, right? And a fairly small percentage of it is fiber. The rest of this is the woody stalk, and you can also make paper out of that. In fact, it's much more efficient in terms of the cellulose you get and the awful chemicals you have to use to process trees into paper compared to hemp. Hemp wants to be paper a lot easier than wood does. And this is what they would use, would be this woody part left over. And this is if you're lucky, 10% by weight fiber. But you can see this is fairly clean. We could comb that and spin that and actually make some pretty good stuff out of that. And as you can see, the thicker stuff makes a lot thicker fiber. So these rot at different rates. Like the bottom of the stalk would rot a lot slower than the top real finely grained fiber would rot really quickly compared to this real thick stuff. So you have to know all that, and you have to gauge it all and put it all together in similar bundles. Now, by comparison, here's a few measly flax stalks with flax fiber. And you can see here, there's a lot of fiber where I've broken it. And the fibers, if you're lucky, it all stays together and the stalk falls away in little pieces. And that could be spun one stalk at a time, or, you know, processed in mass like people used to. Now here's a bunch of fiber here, see? So the woody part is not nearly as good as the hemp stuff as far as wood goes, but it's amazing how similar the fibers are when you get them all cleaned and dressed. In general, flax is finer, but hemp can be very finely processed too and be really strong. Now, the page of the book I showed you is fire hose. Now, there have been flax fire hose, hemp fire hose, but all the fire hoses that I've tested have been flax. And see, this has printed on it, USFS, United States Forest Service, linen, June 1968. So that's at the end. This is the end of the natural fiber era, and it's pure flax fiber, very heavy threaded stuff. And I've made a lot of paper out of that too.